Hi everyone, welcome to Witch Finger Horror Podcast. My name is Yasmina, and to my right is Morgan.
Hello.
And to my left is Megan.
Hello.
And tonight we're watching one of the best fucking movies ever fucking made, the motherfucking Lost Boys. We have been wanting to do this movie ever since we started the podcast, and we're finally doing it, and I'm pretty stoked. I'm as excited for this episode as I was for the Fright Night one.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think I'm 20% more excited for this one. Because
I know,
obviously,
me too.
everyone loves this movie. You can just watch it over and over and over and never, ever get sick of it.
I don't want to get into it before we get into it, but when you bitches were looking at the stats and everything, doing your research, did it piss you guys off at all to read that the majority of the critics were like, I mean, it's good, but it's not great.
Yeah, they were
it's
flawed.
It's a flawed film.
Yeah.
I was like, it's actually not.
No, it's one of the most quintessential, perfect 80s movies.
I
wouldn't even call it really a horror movie. I mean, obviously the subject matter is vampires.
Tain't scary though.
Yeah, it's not scary at all. I think it's sexy. It's got the teen kind of angst thing going on.
Yeah.
But it's just it's just got a certain aesthetic and a certain kind of idea.
It's got it's fashion forward. It's a
is.
fashion forward vampire flick.
Well, originally, the original script, apparently they were supposed to be kids. Mm-hmm. And then Joel Schumacher wanted to switch them into teenagers to add a sexy appeal.
Good
and
call.
Hallelujah.
Good
because
fucking call.
It is a very fucking sexy
movie.
movie.
He was saying he wanted it to be Goonies.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It started off as a G-rated family adventure
no.
film, basically, that was aimed at kids, kind of, I guess, sort of like the Goonies.
Right.
Obviously, the guy who was originally attached to the film to direct was the same director that did the Goonies. So obviously that didn't end up working out for other reasons, whatever. But yeah, and here we are, sexy teen vampires.
It's a sexy fucking movie, that's for sure. Well, it was released in 1987 and directed by Joel Schumacher.
Schumacher.
Okay, guys, it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we've all had a few drinks.
We have to preface this. Yeah, I think this is probably my 6th glass of wine, so
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that I'm able to
It's gonna
speak
be
normally.
We were already dancing and twerking before we started this episode, and we were like, this is going to be a sloppy one.
Fuck yeah. To the Lost Boys soundtrack, of course.
Of
no less.
course. So directed by Joel Schumacher, written by Janice Fisher, James Jeremias, Jeffrey Boehm, who did this screenplay, and he also did the screenplay for Witches of Eastwick, Lethal Weapon, The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, which is my favorite one, and The Dead Zone. He also wrote the screenplay for that.
Awesome.
The budget for this film was $8.5 million, and the box office was $32 million.
Not bad.
Fucking killed it.
Yeah.
IMDb has a 7.3, and Rotten Tomatoes has a 73%.
Again, are
Very
you fucking
odd.
kidding me?
Yes,
I think it
absurd.
deserves higher than that,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Honestly, I would probably give this a 90% at least.
For sheer enjoyability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
know
said
what I mean?
before, it's honestly, you can seriously never get sick of this movie. You can just watch it over and over again. I've probably seen this movie, I want to say 75 times in my life.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so it also won the Saturn Award for Best Horror Movie in 1987, and it was only filmed in 3 weeks.
Which is impressive. They must have been going, hard on the set. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It actually opened number 2 the opening weekend that it went to theaters, and the number 1 film was actually The Living Daylights, which is the 007 movie that weekend. So
I was gonna say, the fuck is that?
yeah, James Bond beat it by whatever, but it's still it still did very well.
Excuse me. So the beginning scene of them in the carousel actually foreshadows the order of their deaths.
Spoiler alert!
Obviously. I mean, come on, if you're listening to this, you've obviously watched this movie.
Yeah, of course. And if you haven't, then you should shut it off and you watch the movie and then you listen afterwards.
Yep. And, yeah, so I also noticed, even when I was a kid, that the Lost Boys were like the Lost Boys from Peter Pan, and I always like made that correlation, but I actually never knew that that's actually like the reference to the Peter Pan story, because the Lost Boys and Peter Pan also never grow old. In the first draft of the script, David's name was Peter, and the mother's name was Wendy instead of Lucy.
Yeah, so they were actually based off of the same.
Which is
I'm
why
glad
like
they changed it, though,
oh
'cause
fuck, I
that's
know.
It takes it too far.
I know.
Too far,
Yeah.
right?
And it's
Too
also
similar,
like
too
because
transparent.
of the whole Goonies like children actors that they wanted to originally play the vampires. Like, it's good that they changed it to teenagers because it definitely obviously appealed to teenagers in the 80s. And even the dog's name, Nanook, is a reference to Nana the dog in Peter Pan.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I also know that Lucy, the mom's name, was a reference to Lucy from Dracula.
And,
yeah, that's cool.
The kids Edgar and Alan are in reference to
Edgar Allan
Poe.
Poe.
Well, it's funny because everyone, I mean, there's like essays, like hundreds of essays written about how Peter Pan is about dead kids.
Really?
Oh God!
Oh, I
If
never
you
knew
look
that.
into it, because they never grow old. They go away to this special magical
it's like
place.
heaven,
It's like
kind
heaven,
of, yeah.
right? So it's like they were dead kids.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Oh, dude,
It's
you
way
gotta
more
read some
morbid
of
than
those
I
essays.
thought. I thought
You
it was just
gotta
like a
read some
fairy
of those
tale,
essays.
yeah.
They're brilliant.
I always thought that Disney had a morbid
But
side
Disney didn't
to
come up with the fucking
everything.
story.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on
true.
now. They
yeah,
ripped
I know.
that shit off.
Yeah, but they're always adding boners and shit and like
Yeah.
tits in
Titties.
their scenes, like the rescuers down under when they're like the porn on the TV and like the fucking Pope
Little
and,
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid
Yeah,
that gets
getting
a
a
boner
boner.
and shit like that.
Super obvious.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before on the podcast.
I think so. There's a few things that we always come back
Yeah.
to. One of them is
Boners.
Rob Lowe, which we'll talk to.
Oh,
talk
I know.
about
He's
more.
a real life vampire.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, well, most of the movie was filmed in Santa Cruz, and the producers changed the town to the fictional Santa Carla because the city council didn't want the murder capital of the world like portrayal, so they refused to give them permission to use the town's name. But it's funny because of the true historic fact about Santa Cruz, which actually had a string of murders in the 70s, and it was nicknamed Murdersville, USA.
Yeah, so obviously they were upset that they were bringing that back up because actually there were in the 70s there were 3 active serial killers in the area.
Yeah, I saw that.
At the same time. So one was Edmund Kemper, one was Herbert Mullen, who actually murdered 13 people and claimed that it prevented earthquakes. I found that to be an interesting fact.
Valid.
And then also David Carpenter was the 3rd serial killer that was sort of active in the 70s at that time, which gave them the Murderville, USA, or murder capital of the U.S. kind of reputation.
I love that this movie is screened every year on the Santa Cruz boardwalk, though. Like, that's adorable.
Yeah, and actually
Every
Corey
year they do it.
Feldman has hosted a couple
Really?
times. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to attend that.
Yeah. I did see that actually.
So silly.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
fuck, I know. Oh, we'll get into the Coreys later, that's for
man.
sure. But yeah, well, let's talk about, so we're just at the beginning of the movie right now, like, not much is happening, like, they just, Michael and Sam just got to the grandpa's house and everything.
Yep,
and
making the
just, like,
move from
showing him
Arizona.
around. Michael. And, yeah, so, Joel Schumacher, let's talk about him for a little bit.
I have so much to say about this
I
man.
did not know that he was
Oh
openly
my
gay.
God.
Had no idea. And actually, before he directed, started out as a costume designer. And let's fucking talk about Batman versus Robin.
Oh my god, we're jumping right to that right now.
Movie ever.
Batman and
Although
Robin
I
and
still will
Batman
watch
Forever.
it. I know. See that? Okay, here's the thing though. Like when Batman Forever came out, it did well, and because of the success, they gave him, like, the studios like gave Joel, you know, the rights to do whatever he wanted with Batman versus
Yeah, it did-
Robin,
it did fabulous.
and then it just fucking turned out to be a pile of shit.
Again,
and I
though,
will admit,
watchable movies. They're both totally fucking watchable.
I will admit, though, although Batman vs. Robin is one of the worst, it's actually on
Batman
the
and
list.
Robin.
It's on one of the worst movies ever,
list
yeah.
ever, like up there with fucking Battlefield
Super
Earth.
enjoyable though.
It's enjoyable because of Arnold, and obviously for me because I love Arnold.
He's a
Herrmann's
parody of
great.
himself
They're
in that.
all
It's so
great.
bad.
They're
It's
all
so
great.
bad.
The costumes are fucking great.
They are.
The
With the
lighting,
nails.
the lighting
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
You can tell obviously it was huge budget.
Okay, so we have to pause. We
Yeah.
have to stop talking.
Saxophone.
Tim Capello gyrating his goddamn fucking thong and saxophone. Holy
He's
shit.
so glistening. Like,
I know.
they pretty
he
much were
gets
like
oiled up.
Yeah,
for
they-
every performance.
Yeah, he's slippery. You could never catch him.
Well, okay, so I did some research on Tim Capello, and he a really long time ago was actually addicted to heroin.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
I love the chains around his neck. He is out of control. Like, this scene is so iconic. There are so many people that just, like, talk about this and are just like, wow, this is absurd.
Okay, so yeah, Tim Capello used to be addicted to heroin, and then he took off for like a month in Europe and quit cold turkey, and then took up bodybuilding, which is why he's massive. And then he got a job playing saxophone and keyboard for Tina Turner,
which is amazing.
He also played for Peter Gabriel. He also played for Ringo Starr, and he also he started kind of like playing with Carly Simon before Tina Turner, and Carly Simon would actually like pull him onto the stage by a leash, and then he would only be wearing a thong, and that was like, and being shirtless and like being all oiled up, and that was like his signature look, like obviously throughout time.
Some like BDSM.
Yeah,
nice.
I know.
What?
Which is very like for Carly Simon. Like I was actually really
pretty
surprised.
risque.
I
would
know.
say.
Yeah, but apparently, so he used to go by Timmy, and then he changed his name to Timmy, and then he changed his name to Tim. When he had his like life-changing experience in Nepal, it wasn't like, so he went to Nepal when
crazy.
he wanted to like kick heroin. I wonder if he like just climbed Mount Everest or some shit. Yeah, so he had his own band in New York City called the Ken Dolls.
Oh,
and the style was referred to as porn pop.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the song, I Still Believe, is a cover by a band called The Call. And it's funny because me and Morgan were talking about this the other day, and like the second that you said The Call, I was like, I fucking know who that band is, because the guy who is the singer for The Call is the bass player from Black Rebel Motorcycle's dad.
That's such a weird connection.
Yeah, because I just knew who The Call was because Black Rebel Motorcycle Club are one of my favorites. Like, I have their name tattooed on my ribs. And then I just like completely forgot that they did I Still Believe, that they wrote it.
That's crazy.
I know. And so Tim Capello is also an actor. He was in Miami Vice. He was also in What's Love Got to Do with It?
Nice.
That's cool.
Which is a great fucking movie. And he's also in the video for One of the Living for Beyond Thunderdome.
Cool.
Yeah. And
he's like Crisco'd the fuck up in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Crisco.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, back to Joel Schumacher. So there actually is a documentary on YouTube about how terrible Batman versus Robin is. It's about like 20 minutes, but like George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell are like all in it, and they're all like laughing about the fact that they put nipples on the suits.
Oh my god.
Well, it's because they focus on it in so many scenes. The camera pans in to the nipple. Like,
I know. And then Joel actually went after. I think he said that he was under a lot of pressure from the studio because it was like more of like a commercialized like toy fame movie.
For sure.
Like it was more centered towards like children.
Merchandise.
Yeah,
and
the merchandising of it. Yeah, like
and then so he
t-shirts
actually
and
like
toys
after
and
the
stuff.
movie was like released, he apologized to the public.
I don't think
He
he needs
even
to.
knows.
Yeah.
I don't think he
That
needs
is
to.
terrible.
You remember the scene where they had the glow in the dark paint and they're like drumming, like the bad guys and the glow in the dark paint's going everywhere. And that is and they're riding their motorcycles. Fuck that.
Isn't
I
that
like
in Batman
movie.
Forever?
Yeah. Well, he did both of them.
Yeah, but Batman versus Robin is like
Batman
exceptionally
and Robin, not
bad.
Batman versus Robin.
Oh, sorry. I'm just
We don't want to fuck you guys up
inebriated.
out there.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, there's a movie, Batman versus Robin.
I know, right? Well, fun fact, for Batman Forever, Joel wanted Corey Haim to be Robin, and he actually did audition, but he didn't get it.
Because
He was
he
on
was
drugs.
too messed up apparently.
He was way too messed up. So we'll get into Corey Haim later. But yeah, so Joel's other movies, Flatliners.
That's awesome. I watched it recently. It's fucking
I
still
actually
holds
have
up.
never seen it from beginning to end.
It's good.
I know.
It's fantastic.
And like my friend worked on the remake because it was filmed in Toronto, and I'll watch the original before I watch the remake. But
you should definitely. Kiefer
also-
Sutherland, Kevin Bacon is in it. Julia Roberts. It's fantastic.
Kevin Bacon in the day? Fuck off.
He
so
also-
hot. He's so hot. Can we just talk about for a hot minute how he directed the video for Kiss from a Rose?
yeah.
Yes.
I just like...
That is really
Yeah,
cool.
he sure did. And he also
great
directed
video.
a Smashing Pumpkins and a Bush video, too.
I know, that's weird. Oh, and also Devil Inside by In Excess, which is one of
Devil
In Excess's
Inside.
best fucking songs. But that was a result of this movie because apparently in order to get some of the really, really big names for the soundtrack, Joel Schumacher promised to direct videos for all these people. So he directed Devil Inside the next year.
Kiefer Sutherland, that because he was such a big NXS fan, wanted to do this
I heard
movie.
that, he agreed because he was like, oh, In Excess, that's cool. I'll do it because they're on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, it's just kind of funny, like, with Joel Schumacher. Like, he's done, like, some really good movies, but he's also done some very terrible
He's very
movies.
hit and miss. It's
yeah,
really
very
strange.
hit and miss. Like, okay, 8mm. I like that movie.
Yeah,
That's a good
it was
movie
good.
with Nicolas Cage,
Yeah,
with the
right.
snuff film. I actually watched St. Elmo's Fire today.
What'd you think of it, by
I've
the
never
way?
seen it.
I thought it was good, but it was like everybody
good.
just fucks everybody.
It's very emotional.
And like
It's
Demi
a
Moore
super
is like
heavy
addicted to
movie.
coke.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
a heavy movie.
It's like
Yeah.
the Brat Pack, and like obviously like the Breakfast Club is way better.
Yeah.
But Rob Lowe again, holy fuck.
He's hot.
God damn, that man is hot. You know, you realize that you're like, when you hit your 30s and like you realize that you're like not a young adult anymore when you think about having sex with men in their 50s. Because I looked him up and I was like, how old is Rob Lowe now? Because he's still fucking sexy as shit. And he's 53. So is Crispin Glover. I would totally still fuck Crispin Glover. And like Vincent Gallo is like 55 and still would. Like they're all in their 50s. And I'm like, wow, I actually feel like an adult now.
Rob
I
Lowe,
find people in their
he's a
50s
vampire.
attractive.
Yeah,
he is
he's a vampire.
He's ageless. Like, it's insane. Falling Down.
That movie is great.
Falling Down is such a
Never
good
saw
movie.
it.
Oh my god, Michael
It's
Douglas.
Michael Douglas. He plays
I
like a
love Michael
disgruntled.
Irate man.
Yeah, it's amazing. He
Yeah.
just the entire movie.
Really?
He's just anybody that fucks with him. He like will smash them with a bat or just fuck
Really?
with them. It's actually
awesome.
a phenomenal movie.
It's
yeah.
a great
cool.
movie. I like
what-
grew up
what-
watching
what
it.
era?
I think it was like
It's
early
90,
90s.
it's 93.
Okay, I love
It's
early
really,
90s
dude.
movies.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Like if you're ever having like a really bad day and you just want to be like fuck everything, watch Falling Down.
Yeah.
All right,
It's great.
cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
So The Client. That's a great
That's a
movie.
great
Yeah.
I
movie.
saw that in theaters.
Yeah.
And
John Grisham and Time to Kill as well.
And it's funny because
I love Time to Kill.
I've actually never seen A Time to Kill,
it's
but I do know
brutal.
that Time to Kill and The Client are both John Grisham novels. And John actually was so impressed with the good job that he did with The Client that he requested that Joel direct A Time to Kill.
And Donald and Kiefer are both in that movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And Phone Booth. I've actually never seen Phone Booth, but I've
heard
heard
of it.
really good things
I
about it.
vaguely remember it. It's
It's,
early 2000s, right?
Colin Farrell and a phone booth.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
and he
yes,
answers the
yes.
phone,
Yeah.
and then he tells him that, like, you know, shit's going down. I have your girlfriend hostage. Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
okay,
blah.
I remember
And, like, he
it.
has to, like, follow
Yeah.
instructions. And Kiefer Sutherland is actually the caller. And, like, you don't even, like, you just hear his voice during the whole movie. I think maybe he's
Listen to
seen,
him
I don't
talk
remember.
all day.
But Phone Booth was also written by Larry Cohen, who
Oh, no
directed
shit.
The Stuff, and Alive, It's Alive, and Q.
Yeah.
The Wicked Serpent. I'm pretty sure that movie comes up in every fucking episode.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So there's another vampire movie that Joel Schumacher did, which I've never seen, but it's called Blood Creek, and it's like a
It's
Viking
newer.
vampire
Yeah.
movie.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
I've never seen it, but I'd give it a shot. But also, okay, so he wrote the screenplay for one of the worst fucking movies, The Wiz.
Oh,
I'm the Wiz.
yeah.
I'm the Wiz. I'm the Wiz.
That's amazing. But holy shit, I tried to watch The Wiz.
I don't even know what it's about.
It's Diana Ross, Michael Jackson are in it. Michael Jackson plays the
I'm
Scarecrow.
sorry. What?
You didn't know
You've
that?
never heard of The
movie.
Wiz?
There's a movie.
Yeah, it's The Wizard of Oz, but like with like
How is it different then? There's just.
it's not really. I guess the songs and stuff. I've never
Yeah.
really seen it.
Dude,
but
I
know
tried.
about it.
I tried
really
to watch it.
Oh no. Okay.
It's terrible.
Yeah. He also directed that fucking Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler from the mid 2000s.
and you
Do
know
you
what's
remember
funny?
it? I went and
Is
saw
that-
it in the theater.
Gerard Butler.
Oh my god.
See, I've never seen that movie, but I worked at HMV at the time, and it sold like crazy.
You know what?
Like, it did really, really well.
I'm sorry, what was it called again? Sorry.
It's the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It came out about like 10 years ago or something.
It was 2004. And I saw it in the theater with Mercedes because I was like, I'm excited. I like the Phantom of the Opera. I wanted to go see it. But like, Gerard Butler is so annoying. Like, hearing him sing, you know how he talks on the side of his mouth sometimes? Like, singing like that? Like, fuck off. It was pretty cheesy. He was the worst part of the movie. But just in general,
I'll probably
it's
never
just
watch
cheesy.
it.
Is it Phantom of the Opera though?
Yeah, it's
It's
like
direct.
Yeah, it is. It is. So and all the songs are in it and everything as well. So he's singing like
No.
Yeah. Only Paul Stanley can be the Phantom. I'm sorry.
And sell Folgers coffee and
Yes.
the merch booth.
Oh my god.
But
Fucking amazing.
yeah, so originally there actually was a novelization of this movie, and it actually included some deleted scenes,
Which is really
and
cool.
I watched one of the deleted scenes actually on YouTube today. But like, there's one
But
where
they
Michael
wrote it after the movie, right? I read that the movie came out and it did so well that they wanted like a book release on it.
Yeah. So
They
they
would
probably
have,
but then they
embellished.
wouldn't have-
Yeah, because it included the deleted scene,
Yeah,
but it
in
also
the book, I
included
think
more scenes
yeah.
that they just embellished. Like, so like there is a deleted scene where Michael is working as a garbage man to pay for his leather jacket, and there's also another deleted scene where he like shows up on the motorcycle and like tries to give his mom money. And it also has expanded roles on the opposing gang. Apparently there was like an opposing gang of like surf Nazis.
Surf
Yeah.
Nazis, right?
Yeah,
right,
who
right.
were victims of the vampires, and it had some more info on vampire lore, like not being able to cross running water and like salt sticking to them.
Weird.
Not be able to cross running water. That's a new one for me.
Yeah,
I don't
I've never
know.
heard that before, but yeah. So we're at the part where they're racing on their motorcycles,
sexy
and like the
part.
greatest song ever is
I
playing.
know. This song is so good.
I know.
The
You should
soundtrack.
probably turn it up.
The soundtrack is so good.
I know. This seriously, like the fucking soundtrack for this movie is so amazing.
I just love how all their hair's like blowing in the wind.
Low to the night, lost boys.
And they're driving so fast and none of them are wearing helmets, and before you know they're vampires, you're like, whoa, these guys are reckless. They're not even wearing helmets.
Yeah. Except Kiefer Sutherland's hair is perfect and it doesn't move.
I know.
Everybody else is like kind of losing. He is perfect. Everybody else is like losing their minds. They're driving and he's just like calm.
He's so cool.
Hey, I have
Fuck,
a
he's
random
so
thought.
cool in this fucking movie.
Do you guys remember that movie with Michael J. Fox called Phantoms? Michael J. Fox, and they were like phantoms, like ghosts, and he was like hunting them, and he was like trying to kill them.
Oh, you mean the Frighteners?
Frighteners!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was my thought. Never mind.
that's a Peter Jackson movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, I actually
That's
watched
it.
that
That's all I have
recently.
to
That's it. Say hello to the night. And also, that's Lou Gramm, the singer of Foreigner.
Fuck yeah.
There it is.
Who actually played in London
Yeah,
recently.
he was in London,
Yeah.
like just like a blues fest, like about a month ago, and we were gonna go and like yell at him to request "Lost in the Shadows."
Yeah, he probably didn't play it. I think my mom went.
Yeah, well, I don't assume that he would probably play it for like a blues fest.
Yeah, but like, if we were
Well,
drunk
it's probably,
enough,
like-
we could have got him to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
You
for
never
sure.
know, man. My mom went to go see Jethro Tull, and I went with her. And so Jethro Tull, I'm like, woo! Woo!
Look on that flute.
Yeah, Jethro Tull! They fucking played nothing but Christmas songs.
Ew.
So it's like you never know when these old bands come back around.
Oh,
Ew.
that sucks.
Ew. Christmas songs.
Christmas songs?
Ew.
Christmas songs.
That's disgusting.
I like their clubhouse, and I wonder how long it took them to decorate it.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
the
I know,
cave.
it's so busy. CDs and starfish
Yeah,
hanging.
it's like- CDs. They've got like starfish and CDs hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, it's like
That's
an old
amazing.
fountain, and of course the mural of Jim Morrison in the background.
Yes.
Which I don't know, like what's the significance of that?
I guess just because the song "People Are Strange."
Well, but
is
it's
playing
so
at the
prominent.
beginning.
It's like, does he represent something else?
I don't know. I never.
I didn't see
found
anything about
in
it,
my
but
He was
research.
young and sexy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And
And I
don't
do
know.
love his concho belt.
Yeah.
You have one of them, don't you?
That's why I have it.
Oh,
true
because I
that.
always wanted a Jim Morrison belt, and now I have it.
Fuck
Thanks, Forever
yeah.
21.
Woo!
Well, this is interesting. So let's like touch a little on the sequels.
Oh, God.
Okay,
Oh,
so
Let's get that out of the way because it's rotten to the core.
I know. Okay, so they actually intended for David to survive for a sequel because he was only impaled and he didn't explode or melt like the other vampires. And scripts were actually written for a sequel called The Lost Girls. And Joel attempted to make it in the 90s, but it just never happened. And there is 2 sequels. So The Lost Boys, The Tribe came out in 2008, and I rented it. It's horrible.
Of
There's
course.
also The Lost Boys, The Thirst, that came out in 2010, and I never saw that. I will one day watch it. They both have Corey Feldman, and Post-Haim made a cameo in The Tribe.
Yep, and Jameson Newlander actually was in The Thirst,
he
returning
was
as
in
Alan
The Thirst,
Frog.
right. And Kiefer Sutherland's half-brother, Angus Sutherland, plays the lead vampire in The Tribe.
Which is kind of neat, actually.
And his character's name is Shane Powers. It sounds like a superhero rather than a
Shane
vampire.
Powers.
Last name Powers is...
That's very, like, superhero, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really, like, it's not like Deacon Frost, like, from Blade.
Oh my god.
I know, yeah. We just got a lady boner. So fucking hot.
Oh, we just saw the Rob Lowe poster. Speaking
Oh,
of
yeah, the Rob Lowe poster!
Look at him, like, pulling his shirt up and stuff.
Like, seriously?
Like, motherfucking crop tops, man.
I know.
What?
I, like, actually...
There's a picture circulating of him and Robert Downey Jr. from, like, the late 80s.
Really?
Oh my
Is it
god.
good?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are they together in
And
it?
yeah, they're like,
Oh.
I'm pretty sure like their dicks are rubbing.
Oh.
Like they're not.
Let's
I mean,
pull
like,
that shit up.
you
That's hot.
can imagine, but like, and they have like the dangly earrings.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah. I remember in the 80s, like, when guys used to wear, like, the one dangly earring.
Yep.
That was, like, a thing. But, yeah, the Rob Lowe poster, I always used to think that was really weird that Sam had that poster in his room. But I guess, like, because, like, Joel had just directed Rob Lowe in St. Elmo's Fire.
It's
and
sort of like an homage to that. But
I know. And I also thought it was actually kind of funny when I was watching St. Elmo's Fire that Rob Lowe, like... slays the saxophone, and he's wearing like a tank top with bats on it.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen it, so I don't know.
It's okay. Like, I thought it was okay. It wasn't like it was no Breakfast Club or anything like that.
No.
But there is a scene where Rob Lowe is like playing with his band at the bar, and he's all sweaty and glistening, and he's wearing like a yellow tank top with like bats all over it, and he's like playing the saxophone and like beats the shit out of some guy for like making out with his wife or whatever. He's like, stay away from my wife. And I was like, God damn, Rob Lowe, why are you so sexy?
Maybe she shouldn't be cheating on Rob Lowe.
Yeah, like she's a dummy. She's a dummy for
What an
cheating
idiot.
on Rob Lowe. Seriously.
You're eating maggots, Michael.
I know.
This guy's got big old eyeballs.
Okay, so that is Alex
Winter.
Winter. And I was actually just telling Morgan this last night, but Alex Winter is obviously Bill from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And when I was very young, obviously was in love with Keanu Reeves. Like, who wasn't?
Yeah.
And I always, just presumed that like Keanu was the hot one and like Bill, like Alex Winter, was the ugly one. And when this movie was being played in my youth, like I used to always like think that he was like, why did they cast him in The Lost Boys? Like he's like so unattractive compared
Like all
to
the other ones
vampires.
are so attractive.
I know,
He's
they're
just so
all like
ugly.
gorgeous except for him. But recently, like when we were doing our research and I was actually like looking up pictures of Alex Winter from the 80s, he was a babe in the 80s.
Babe
actually. Like, he didn't age well. I will say that.
Well, none of them really have. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland is like just like regular looking old guy.
Yeah,
I
like
guess.
Jason Patric is like.
He's
okay.
Jason Patric is only hot in The Lost Boys. Like, but yeah, Alex Winter was actually really fucking hot in the 80s and like early 90s, and he is more of like a director now than an actor. But they are doing a Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah.
They just confirmed it. And Keanu Reeves like hinted to the plot on Twitter like just yesterday. Yeah, so that's actually happening. And he even joked about it and was like, we're going to have, like, it's going to happen. Hopefully it'll happen before I turn 60.
Yeah. Apparently,
so that's going to be hilarious.
Apparently the plot, what Keanu said was basically they're supposed to write a song to save the world, and then they just haven't done that yet. And that was what he sort of alluded to with the plot of the movie. So they're like writing a song to save the world, which Wild Stallions!
I am actually not like a huge fan of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I like Bogus Journey more.
Yeah.
I think Bogus Journey is hilarious. And it has the I forgot his name, the guitar player of Faith No More is in it too, and he has like one line.
That's funny.
But back to Alex Winter though, we talked about him in our last episode for The Gate because he was supposed to direct the 3D remake of The Gate.
What the fuck?
I know, but it just never happened. But very interesting about Bill and Ted, him and Keanu Reeves actually auditioned for the opposite roles.
Oh, weird.
So Alex Winter auditioned for Ted, and Keanu Reeves auditioned for Bill, and then they switched them. I know, right?
Like
I don't know.
Who fucking cares one way or another?
Yeah.
They're both idiots in the movie.
Yeah.
So, like, who
Yeah,
cares?
that's true. They're very dumb. I know. But he's also in a movie that I have seen and I find it very odd is Freaked. He also like co-wrote it and co-directed it, and that's a really weird one. He was also, his first movie that he ever did was Death Wish 3, which is pretty badass.
Wish! Oh my god!
With Charles Bronson,
my
which is
God.
pretty fucking cool. He's in a Red Hot Chili Peppers video. He directed a Red Hot Chili Peppers video.
Yeah, he directed like a lot of music videos.
I know.
Which is cool.
He's a pretty prominent director. He also wrote and is directing the documentary on Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
And
cool.
apparently the Kickstarter was the highest funded documentary in crowdfunding history.
So who knows how much money he made for that? And apparently Frank Zappa's
Give a
like
clap.
family and his estate are like 100% behind
Yeah,
him.
like
So
they
they're
gave
gonna
him,
give
like,
him
full
access to
rights.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking wonderful.
So
He
that's
was
gonna be
also,
huge.
When he was a kid, he was in a musical with Vincent Price.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Which is pretty
Man, this
fucking
guy's got a
impressive.
cool
He was only
life.
10. He was 10 years old and he was in a musical with Vincent Price. And yeah, he was just a babe in the 80s. Like I always just like, my gears shifted. I used to think that he was like super unattractive because when I was like younger watching Bill and Ted, like Keanu Reeves is gorgeous. Like when you put them side by side.
Right.
But when I was like looking up pictures of Alex Winter, like from the 80s and like when he's playing Marco, like I was like, damn.
He's still better looking than the other one, the other blonde guy, which is his name Paul in this?
Yes.
Yeah, he's better looking than the other blonde guy.
Well,
I think.
Brooke McCarter is the guy that plays Paul,
Yeah.
and he passed away in 2015.
Yeah, of a rare genetic like liver disease apparently, which is really sad. But apparently, like his, he was like trying to bring awareness to it, and his death actually did bring more awareness to it. It's some sort of genetic issue.
Yeah, I did read about that, and he also is in a movie that I have never seen, but I've actually heard of it, Thrashin'. It's a skateboarding, like 80s movie. And it's just about these two skateboarding gangs that are like rivals, and then like the one main gang leader is in love with the other gang leader's sister, and it's like this like skateboarding war, like it's just absurd.
It's like Breakin', but for
skateboarding.
But for skateboarding,
Yeah, so he won a modeling contest and he got signed to an agency in New York and he studied acting and then he moved to LA and then got the role in Thrashin', and then he became a composer for scores and he was also a drummer as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it is unfortunate that he passed away from like the genetic.
Yeah, liver issue. There's a couple models in this movie though. The other dude, the brown-haired guy. I know, beautiful.
Yeah, Billy Wirth.
Yes.
Who plays Dwayne, which is actually funny that his character's name is Dwayne because it's never mentioned throughout the entire movie.
I was going to say Dwayne.
I
Why'd
know.
they even name him? Why
Yeah,
didn't he just be,
he's
like,
not
Vampire
mentioned
One
in
or
like
something?
he's never mentioned. My favorite thing that I was like when I was doing my trivia on Billy Wirth, my favorite thing about him is that he's in my number one favorite Tales from the Crypt episode, Split Second. He's in the episode where they hollow out trees and stick people in them and like fucking like use a chainsaw and like chop them into pieces.
That's so
You know what's super
wicked.
funny? The grandpa in this movie is in my favorite Tales from the Dark Side episode.
Oh yeah, he's in
Trick
the
or Treat.
pilot. Yeah, that's the
my
pilot.
favorite episode.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, Billy Wirth is also in Body Snatchers. I've never seen Body Snatchers.
Oh my god, that's such a good movie!
I've never seen it, but the cover is so nostalgic.
Oh, the like the veiny.
Yeah, like the purpley, like
outline
pink.
of, like the body.
I've never seen it. I'll have to watch it for sure.
Oh.
But actually, you know what? another amazing thing about Billy Wirth is that he was a contestant on American Gladiators.
American Gladiator. Do you
So
seriously
good.
know the song?
I know, it's my superpower.
She knows every song from every TV show.
Trust me, we'll get to that even. I have one that I pulled out of my fucking ass the other day when I was doing fucking research.
Nice.
It's about Corey Haim.
I'm dying to know. I can't contain my excitement. I love this broad too. I love her so. I love
Dianne
every
Wiest.
movie
Oh, she's won
in.
like fucking so many fucking Oscars. It's absurd.
She's
Dianne-
so sweet. And
Dianne
adorable.
Done
Wiest and-
Wiest or Wiest.
It's
yeah.
Wiest, actually.
Yeah.
And
You
I
better
like to call
wise
her...
up, Janet.
I like to call her Janet, Dianne Wiest infection. I actually stole that joke from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Ouch.
But obviously, the most prominent portrayal that she has ever done, in my eyes, is Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
The Avon lady.
Yeah, for me it's the Birdcage because the Birdcage is
Oh,
my
you know
favorite
what? Okay,
comedy
so
of all
I
And she was
time.
in Footloose too.
Yeah,
That's pretty big.
fuck
Yeah.
Footloose.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Fuck you, okay.
I agree.
Footloose.
Well,
It's
okay,
good.
here's the thing. I've actually never seen The Birdcage, but I've heard amazing things about it.
So
I
the
will have to
original,
watch
since
it.
you speak French, the original Le Cage aux Folles, it's a French movie.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Way funnier.
Oh,
And you
okay.
understand French, so you'll
Yeah.
be able to watch it and get the jokes. But obviously Robin Williams is hilarious.
I've heard
is
such good
such
things
a
about
good
The
movie.
Birdcage.
It's
I will
such a
watch
good
it. But Footloose, I found it kind of interesting that she was only 9 years older than the actress that played her daughter
Yeah.
in that
Hollywood's
movie.
Shameful.
It
like that.
is because she's actually she wasn't that old even in this.
No.
Um,
And what's wrong with dancing? Come on, it's dancing.
dancing it leads
Like,
to
we're fucking-
sex.
They're still in the 80s. Like, it's not the fucking 40s or 50s.
Leads
like,
to Satan.
I know. Thanks a lot, John Lithgow.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Well,
But
she's
it
also, Dianne Wiest is also in one of my favorite Steve Martin movies, The Parenthood. Have you ever seen
Right.
Parenthood?
Yes, I remember that movie.
Keanu Reeves is in that too, actually. I love Steve Martin. He's hilarious. She's also, I'm a huge Charlie Kaufman fan, and she's in a movie called Synecdoche, New York.
Yep, I've seen that.
That's a fucked up movie. I like all of his movies. And she's also in a few episodes of Law and Order.
She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for Hannah and Her Sisters in 1986 and Bullets Over Broadway in 1994, which were both Woody Allen movies. And she also did get a Oscar nomination for her role in Parenthood too.
I love that movie. I think it's hilarious.
She just like Oscars out
I
the
think
fucking
Martha Plimpton
squat.
is in it too,
Genius.
like the girl from the Goonies as well. But yeah, I grew up watching Parenthood. I always used to think it was pretty funny. So apparently, this movie originally didn't end on a joke because at the very end of the movie, like, you know how the grandpa opens the fridge and he's like, "There's one thing about Santa Carla, blah 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 blah."
All the damn vampires.
Yeah, so apparently it was after that, it was supposed to cut to a scene with the surviving Lost Boys regrouping to lead into the sequel.
The Lost Girls.
Yeah, and there was a comic book, Reign of Frogs, that David actually shows up in. So he is, his character, like, survived at the end of this movie, and he shows up in Reign of Frogs, which was a sequel to The Lost Boys and prequel to The Tribe.
Yeah.
Which was the first
Right.
sequel.
Yeah, and they explained that like
the antlers,
they
like,
missed his heart, so that they could say, well, then because I mean it's obvious, like the other guys are like exploding or like like sizzling up and shit, and he just kind of just gets impaled and he doesn't blow
Yeah,
up or
so like
anything,
they were
so.
like intending, they did that on purpose because they were going to do a sequel. But Vertigo Comics, they do Sandman, released a new comic actually last year, which involves Michael, Sam, and the Frog Brothers. They protect Star from her sisters, the Bloodbells. So that's an interesting
So
story.
another vampire gang.
Yeah.
Fucking the name Star. Fuck off.
I know, right? I always actually really enjoyed that he comments when he meets her, like when he says, like, "Oh, your parents too," and she's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, who fucking names their kid Star?
Yeah.
It's like destiny.
I know. But it's actually kind of funny because Edward Herrmann, who plays Max, his second wife's name was Star.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought
is
that was
very
actually kind of
strange.
interesting.
Now is it Star with one R or with two?
They're both with one R.
Oh.
Yeah, I always thought it was with 2 R's.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, but it's not.
Well, if we're talking about books, did you guys see about the story of the Lost Boys book that's coming out?
No.
Okay. So yeah, like on the topic of books, apparently this year, there was story of the Lost Boys book that came out, August 2017, written by Paul Davis. It's called Lost in the Shadows, the story of the Lost Boys. And it's apparently like over 400 behind the scenes photos, as well as interviews with over 40 of the original cast and crew, including archive material from Post-Haim and Brooke McCarter and Edward Herrmann and Jeffrey Boehm, who I assume are all deceased. And the upcoming book shows Lost in the Shadows, blah, 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 promises to provide the ultimate insider look at making and the enduring legacy of the 1987 classic. And I believe Paul Davis is from the UK, so it's a British hardcover. And it did come out in August of this year, so I'm not sure if you can get it on Amazon or whatever. I actually saw that news on, I think, Bloody Disgusting. Mm-hmm. And the cover looked really cool. It was just like a really wicked drawing of all the characters. So that looks really cool if you're like super into it, like 400 behind the scenes photos and interviews and stuff.
That's cool.
Could be neat.
Yeah, for sure. You know what else I thought was actually kind of interesting about the sequels, like The Thirst or whatever, and like The Tribe? Corey Feldman also was a producer on The Thirst.
Yeah. Executive producer, no less. Well,
but
good
actually, and
for him.
Post-Haim was actually supposed to be a part of The Thirst, but it came out the same year that he died.
Right.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, that is really sad.
Yeah, but well, let's talk about Kiefer.
All right.
Yes.
Mr. Sutherland. He's got some interesting facts about him.
A lot of interesting facts.
I don't know if you guys like read his Wikipedia page, but his full name
is like 10 names long.
It's insane. Okay, his full name is Kiefer William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland.
Oh, fuck off.
I don't have a middle name, and I'm happy.
Well, I have a middle name, and it's 3 fucking letters. I don't need 15 names in between.
Yeah,
what do
like,
you do when you're writing out your full name to, like, apply for your passport or some shit? They
I
don't
know,
provide
like,
enough
that's
space
insane.
for that.
Like,
What's the point? I have 3 middle names, and I'm even like,
He has like
fucking
7 names.
kidding
Like,
me?
that's fucking
It
crazy.
doesn't even spell like an...
Are
It's
you
not even an
supposed to be
acronym or
right?
anything.
I know.
Are they, like, honoring every single male in their family?
I guess
Probably.
so. Well, he was named after a director. He was named after Warren Kiefer, who directed Donald Sutherland's first movie.
I love Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I know.
And I
got some stories about Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
I do.
Personal story?
So do
Yes.
I, actually. My friend Steph, who's a voice actress, apparently Donald Sutherland is very hard to work with. He's very tumultuous and is like very bossy. And she got offered like a gig to like be his manager while he was like filming in Toronto, and she was like, "No, I'm not doing it." Like it's like because she would have to like basically like do his schedules, like get him what he needs,
Like he's a diva.
and like he's apparently he's really hard to work with.
The other the story that I have is similar to that. I know someone who has a studio in Toronto and does a lot of like advertisements, voiceovers, that sort of thing. And Donald Sutherland was in to do a voiceover for something, and he was like swearing and like would stop and be like "fuck" and like just being crazy. And apparently they obviously like cut his advertisement and it went off, but all of the swearing, they actually like stuck it together in a song and made a song out of it, and I heard it and it was pretty funny.
That's amazing. I really want to hear that.
Yeah. And also my personal Donald Sutherland story is that one time I was at the border, I think in Vermont, and it was like 4:00 in the morning, and the only people in the fucking room were Donald Sutherland and his wife and the band. And we were waiting in the room to be like processed because it's a small border. It was really weird.
What are the odds?
I know, right? And it was just him there, and I was like really drunk, and I was like, I heard about Donald Sutherland was an asshole. And Tara's like, shut up. But anyways, it was just, we were just sitting there. It was really weird. He was right there.
Just put together. Light bulb. This movie has his son, and Buffy the Vampire
I know,
Slayer has him!
I know, yeah, I know.
You guys totally thought about that before.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what?
Yeah, no, Donald Sutherland
It's all
is,
slowly coming together.
plays
okay?
the Watcher in the Buffy movie.
Very interesting.
Which I have seen a million times. I can, like, recite that whole
like
fucking
ooh,
movie. I know. Paul Rubens, yeah. I love that fucking movie so much. But yeah, so back to Kiefer.
Right.
I've actually
digress.
have never seen 24.
Me
and
neither.
I've heard
I've never.
such good things about it.
Yeah.
I've just never fucking seen it. And what's his name? Jack
Bauer.
Jack Bauer.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about it. I just never got around to watching it. And I think like it's like the only TV show that he's ever done, right?
Yeah.
Because he's only ever done movies.
And it literally was on for 10 years, and then
That's
they brought it back
crazy.
a few years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was 2001 to 2010.
Yeah. That's crazy. I've never
then
seen it.
2014.
I'll have to get to it though because like my brother, I trust his judgment, and he used to always tell me like, dude, you have to watch 24. Like it's so intense.
I watched an interview with Kiefer Sutherland on Top Gear, and they were saying that like 24 was the start of feature film actors coming into TV.
Right.
Now those big TV shows, 24, Homeland, all these like they all have big stars in them now.
It's because
right?
it
like,
pays more, man.
I mean, Matthew McConaughey was on. He was in True Detectives.
Yeah.
So like they're all doing TV.
It's
but
because
he-
if like
he
Sutherland
opened the door
get
for it.
renewed, then you're set financially.
And Kiefer Sutherland started that, and he was
That's
like,
cool.
he was like, I knew going in that it was a risk. He's like, but he's a smart man, right? So he was watching,
Yeah.
like you watch like Algorithms. He was watching that with the way that the TV was
That's
going.
so cool.
And he's like, with like coming out with like the internet and stuff. I was noticing that a lot more people were just watching. Like binge watching because because Netflix
and
was a
apparently
thing, right? So you could binge.
that show is
And so it
very
was like-
easy to binge
That's what I
because
hear,
because
yeah.
it like follows time
well,
precisely.
of course, every
right?
episode's an hour,
And, like,
Of real
it's
time.
Yeah, of
exactly
real time,
an
yeah.
hour
Real
of
Yeah,
time.
it's interesting that you mentioned that too because eventually after 24 became a hit, he became the highest paid television actor of all time. I think
That's crazy.
for 3 seasons, his salary was like $40 million. Like it was
Wow.
absurd. So he was the one that opened those doors and then
Yeah.
also like got paid for it,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Well, he was also he's also in the Flatliners remake. So
Yeah, I
he's
heard, like, a
in
quick-
the original and
yeah.
he's also in the remake. And he is gorgeous in Stand By Me. He is so even in
Gorgeous.
like in Lost Boys. Like when I was a kid, I had the biggest fucking crush on Kiefer Sutherland from the Lost Boys and Stand By Me. And actually, like it was his portrayal in Stand By Me that made Joel like want to hire him. And actually a fun fact about when he was shooting Stand By Me, he stayed in character off camera and he like picked on all the kids.
I was gonna say, like when you play
Yeah.
a badass,
Yeah.
You have to.
He's so hot.
we
in
like
this
want to
movie.
take our pants off.
Yes,
For
definitely.
some reason, because we all fucked up issues.
He is adorable in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. He's only in the very beginning of the
I
movie,
didn't
but
know he
he's
was in it.
so cute with Chris Isaac. He's Chris Isaac's partner in the beginning of Fire Walk with Me. He's so cute. I've never seen Young Guns.
I have.
I've never seen
Lou
it.
Diamond Phillips. And
I've never seen
I've
it.
seen the sequel too.
And he's in the sequel too, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's like Emilio Estevez, who was like 90s boyfriend.
Where's that
and,
guy
like,
at?
I know.
He's also in St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
His character in St. Elmo's Fire is absurd, by the way. He's like a psycho.
I was gonna say, but it's very similar to like I feel like he plays that character a lot. I can't fucking think right now.
Like psycho stalking guy.
Like he always plays like he's got like this look on his face, like this transparent, like I don't know what's happening, like this
like Jason Patric in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
So we're in the
His
sex
his
scene
mouth
right
is
now,
open.
actually.
Okay, the thing that bothers me about him, like, yeah, he's like attractive, he's really pretty or whatever, but his mouth is open like 85% of the time of this movie, and he just looks stupid. He's like the whole time. Worse than Corey Haim, because I know that's
I
Corey
know,
Haim's
yeah,
thing.
because that was like Corey Haim's like signature look, and it
Yeah.
always bothered the shit out of me.
Yeah, no, his mouth is open too much.
It's like
Yeah.
transcendent sex.
I know,
Yeah.
so we're at the sex scene right now.
And they're
when
soaring to the
song,
air.
Cry Little Sister is playing. Such a fucking good song,
this
by
song?
the way. Like, holy fucking
Ugh.
shit. It makes me want to punch babies.
I
Like,
know.
it's so good. And it's, written by a couple guys, Gerard McMahon and Michael Manieri. And get this, it's been covered and sampled 24 times.
Oh, dang.
And none of them fucking, like, beat the original. Like, the original is, like, always gonna be the best fucking version. I've heard so many goth, like, industrial bands cover the song, and it's like, fuck you. Like, dude, like, seriously, you can't even. But, so I want to go back to Kiefer Sutherland here. I had the biggest crush on Kiefer Sutherland when I was a kid because of The Lost Boys and Stand By Me, that I even also found him attractive in Eye for an Eye when he played a rapist.
Oh my fucking, with Sally Field.
Yeah, I seriously was like even all about him in that movie. I was like, yes!
I'm gonna, like, direct our attention back to the fact that I said we all have, like, super fucking bad issues. I like me a man who's got some rape in his blood.
Dude, I was like all about him when I was a kid, and I was like, yeah, even in Eye for an Eye, I went and saw it in theaters, and I was like, he's still hot, even as a raper. And
Even as a raper?
I also saw Dark City in theaters, and I love
Dark City.
Love that movie. He plays this like weird scientist with like a fucking weird eye, and he's still hot in that movie. And also, Mirrors. Remember Mirrors?
So good.
Alexander Aja or whatever,
That
the
was
guy
a
who directed
great
High
movie.
Tension.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't think
the gore
I
in
don't
that
think I've
movie
seen
is
it.
really
It's
fucking
a
good.
great
I never
movie.
saw the sequel, but
There's
the first
there's
one,
a sequel.
yeah, they did make a sequel. I don't think Kiefer Sutherland is in it, but the first one was actually pretty good. Like, it wasn't there a scene where a girl like gets impaled by the glass, like the shower door?
It, like, comes crashing
Yeah,
down.
like that
Ooh,
part was fucking
damn.
awesome. But yeah, so Kiefer also directed 3 movies. Okay, but get this though. One of the movies that he directed, a movie called Woman Wanted, is he uses that fucking pseudonym Alan Smithy. Because remember when we were talking when we
About
did
how
the
they don't
Hellraiser 3
want to
episode,
be.
and we were talking about Hellraiser 4 and how I was like, when directors want to like denounce like a movie, they use that fake name Alan Smithy. And so Kiefer Sutherland was like apparently so ashamed of this movie Woman Wanted that he used that pseudonym like Alan Smithy.
So, okay, so here's my question. It's like, if you direct a movie and then you see it and it's like so terrible that you don't want it to be released, then don't release it. Why would you?
He's got to try and make some money back.
Some deal though, like if you have a deal, like
You know
if
what?
you have
Contract,
to, like you have to release it.
Well, so I guess he's just not a good director.
Because the whatchamacallit, the distribution company, right, is probably like, you got to make some money on this fucking
I
movie.
guess at some point it's not his project anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the music industry or whatever. I get it. Like somebody else buys it and then
But I
they've
hear
given
you.
you the money and whatever.
Well, he was inducted into the Hollywood and Canada Walk of Fame.
Yes, because he is Canadian.
Yes,
we
he
should.
is.
We should.
He was born in England, but he grew up in Toronto. And actually, I think the coolest thing about Kiefer and Donald, like in the Sutherland family, is like Kiefer's grandfather is Tommy Douglas, the man who created fucking healthcare in this country.
Yeah,
he was the premier and the first NDP, right?
Yeah, he was the first leader of the NDP.
Yeah,
and he actually
was the
created
premier
the party.
of Saskatchewan, and he invented the healthcare system for Canada. Which is pretty fucking crazy. So he was actually Tommy Douglas was Donald's wife's father.
I'm thankful on this day of
fuck
thanks
yeah, man.
for that.
I know.
Fuck.
All you cool Americans should just like fucking jump ship and come up
Thanks
here.
for the
Get
free
some
birth
free healthcare.
control.
Yeah. He also has a twin sister.
Which is weird because,
they look
like,
identical. Like, they look exactly the same.
It's weird.
But yeah, so he was born in England, but he, like, grew up in Toronto. And he also, he attended many high schools and colleges. One in London, where
Which
we
is
live,
cool.
and one in Etobicoke, one in Aurora. And then he moved to Hollywood to further his acting career. And at that time, lived in an apartment with Robert Downey Jr.
Which is, like, a dream come true.
I know.
It's like a sexy
The high schools that he went to were Regina Mundi Catholic School and also Banting. He went to.
Yeah, he went to Banting in
Banting's
London.
sweet fucker.
Yeah, but he also, this is actually kind of interesting, he auditioned for the role of Glenn in Nightmare on Elm Street. And then it went to Johnny Depp.
He didn't get it, obviously.
It would have been
Yeah.
bad.
That would have been.
It would have been bad.
Yeah,
Nope.
so he was also considered for the role of Robin in the Tim Burton Batman. But then Robin,
yeah.
the character of Robin was deleted from the script anyways.
Thank God, because that movie's flawless.
Yeah, and then get this, Jim Carrey was considered for the role of David in The Lost Boys, which is funny because he did Once Bitten, and there is a poster of Once Bitten in Max's store in The Lost Boys.
I'm trying to, I think that fucks me up because I'm picturing Jim Carrey now. I'm forgetting that this movie was like late mid-80s.
When he was like in Living Color and like Silly and stuff like that.
It was even before in Living Color. Like Once Bitten was like 1985.
I've never seen Once Bitten.
Because
I have. It's probably no Vampire's Kiss, though, right? With Nicolas Cage.
No. Nothing comes close to that. That's a masterpiece.
That's a masterpiece. Let's be honest.
Right there.
A, B, C, D.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but yeah. So, also another very interesting thing about Kiefer Sutherland is he was actually engaged to Julia Roberts. So they met while filming Flatliners. Yep. But get this, she broke it off 3 days before the wedding because she said he was having an affair with a go-go dancer, but he denied ever cheating on her and said that he was only playing pool with her. And on the day that the wedding was supposed to happen, she fucking took off to Ireland with Jason Patric, Michael, like from The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
And then they started dating. And then they started dating. And then so that caused this weird like animosity between like Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patric. They've made up like at this point they're friends. But like, yeah, I thought that was actually, I had no idea.
That's super shitty.
Like 3 days before the wedding was supposed to happen and they broke up. And then she like the day that the wedding was supposed to happen, she fucked off with Michael.
Although Michael's like got that pretty boy thing going.
Not no more.
Yeah.
Not no more. But yeah, he's also the co-owner of his own label, like record label.
Yeah, he's
called
a musician.
Ironworks. Yeah. So Lifehouse and Ron Sexsmith are on the label.
That's cool.
And he released his own solo album last year. And he played around here, and we were gonna go.
Yeah,
but we didn't go.
Yeah, he played last year in Stratford.
He plays guitar and sings. Right?
Yeah. And he played at the Masonic Hall, and I think he also has played at like a little Italian restaurant in Stratford as well. And I know because like Stratford obviously has like the festival there, like Stratford Festival is like a big theatrical festival and whatnot, so lots of celebrities always come in town for like the productions because they're really awesome. But yeah, it was like I think last July that he played.
Yeah, I remember like seeing the Facebook event.
Yeah, and I wanted to go.
Yeah, we wanted to go, but we didn't end up going.
I bet you he'll be back though.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. He does like he hangs out in Toronto and like Stratford all the time.
Yeah, I know people who have partied with him before, and apparently he's a maniac.
Yeah.
Like Kiefer Sutherland puts them back and gets fucking wild.
Well, Jason Patric, Speed 2,
oh my God.
Control.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that movie is so bad.
Fuck.
There hasn't really been
What about the novelization of Speed 2?
You have it. We found it at Value Village.
Oh my God, I know. It's fucking
There is
pissing gold.
Yeah, there's not a lot that Jason Patric has like done, I guess, like since The Lost Boys. Like he's still an actor. Like he was in Sleepers. Sleepers was a huge hit with Kevin Bacon. And yeah, like I'm just like I don't know. He's not like an A-list actor or anything, but he was in that show Wayward Pines.
Yeah,
I never saw it, but I know that the Duffer Brothers wrote 4 episodes, and they're the guys that like invented Stranger Things. And Jennifer Lynch and M. Night Shyamalan like directed a couple episodes, but I've never seen it. I've never like actually like heard anything
I don't know
about it. But interesting thing about Jason Patric, his grandfather is Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. And his dad is Jason Miller, who is Father Karras in The Exorcist.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I know. And his mom is Linda Miller, and she was in Alice Sweet Alice and one of the Freddy's Nightmares episodes. And his half-brother is Joshua John Miller.
Who's that annoying kid from Near Dark.
From Near Dark. Because we talked about that.
Yeah.
In the Near Dark episode. I know.
It is very strange.
Yeah. I do know that he turned down the role in The Firm that ended up going to Tom Cruise.
Oh,
and then he also, I thought this was kind of funny, he turned down the role of Jesus in Passion of the Christ.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like I think, what's his name? Jim Caviezel? Did a really good job.
I was just going to say, Passion of the Christ is one of... as far as like realistic movies,
it's disturbing.
So
It's fucking disturbing.
Movies
I just want to know what he was like thinking in his head. Like, you get an offer to play Jesus,
and you say no,
and you say no. You're like, fuck Jesus, fuck this shit.
Well, I mean, maybe he loves Satan or whatever, but like,
Yeah,
I don't know, like look at him. He's
why would you turn that down?
way too pretty to be like. Jesus was an Arabic man. Let's be honest. At least Jim Caviezel has like brown skin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and see that is true, and I that's strange because Mel Gibson did such a great job at making that movie as authentic. I mean, it was all in Arabic, like the whole movie, like it was such an authentic fucking movie.
Yeah.
So like to even think of casting someone who doesn't fit that role, it seems kind of a strange call, but
yeah, he hasn't really done much. Apparently he was in a movie called Solar Babies with Jami Gertz.
Yeah.
Which apparently he actually had recommended her for the role of Star. Apparently they originally were going to cast like a blonde
girl.
Yeah, and he was like, no, I just worked with Jami Gertz. She's really awesome, whatever. And also Adrian Pasdar was in that movie.
Oh, from Near Dark.
Yeah, another Near Dark connection there.
That's another actor that is only hot in
one movie.
In that movie. Like, he's not, I don't find him attractive now, but he's, like, so hot in Near Dark. Like, they're just like Jason Patric in The Lost Boys. Like, he's gorgeous in this movie, but in, like, reality, he's not attractive to me, personally.
No.
But, Jami Gertz, obviously, most other, like, movie that, like, besides, like, The Lost Boys that, like, I recognize her from is Twister.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Oh, wait.
She plays the Bill Paxton's annoying wife.
Yeah, and she's also in 16 Candles.
Yep.
And Less Than Zero with Robert Downey Jr. that I've actually never seen. And I've always wanted to watch it, but I just never got
I've heard
around
it's
to
really
it.
good, actually.
It's just about, like, he's, like, trying to, like, get sober and, like, he's, like, addicted to drugs.
How
but,
apropos.
Yes. But also Jami Gertz is in the Seinfeld episode, The Stall.
I was just gonna...
Yeah.
I don't have a square to spare.
I'm sorry, there just isn't enough to spare.
I feel like every fucking episode that we've put out has been like,
one person
this
is in a
random
Seinfeld
actor was in
episode.
Yeah.
I know.
It's because
it's the
Seinfeld has
greatest show
everything.
ever.
Yeah.
It's the greatest show ever.
Yeah.
But a really interesting tidbit about Jami Gertz, it's actually pretty crazy. She's one of the wealthiest women in America. Get this. Her and her husband are part of an investment group that's worth $1.5 billion. And they bought a baseball team. She co-owns the Milwaukee Brewers.
The Milwaukee Brewer. That's
I
the
don't know
team you're
anything
gonna
about
buy.
sports.
That's the fucking team you're
I don't
gonna
know anything about sports, but
Neither
I
do
was
I.
like, that's crazy that
I believe
she
it's
owns
pronounced Milwaukee.
We're not worthy. But she donates to
really
a lot of
interesting.
charities.
I was just,
so.
you know what, Yaz? I was just gonna say, I fucking hope that if she's that
Yeah,
wealthy,
she does. Actually,
yeah.
her and her husband were like in 1 year, like the couple in Hollywood that donated the most. But she was also considered for the role of Rachel on Friends.
Should have been good too.
Yeah, but she turned it down. She probably didn't think it was going to do well.
Because that show sucks.
Oh my god, those people are living off their fucking Friends money.
Yeah, I know. They got that Friends money. I know.
That syndication shit. Yeah. Like, because what else has, like, Jennifer Aniston or any of those fucking guys done?
Yeah.
Well, Courtney,
David Schwimmer.
Oh, David Schwimmer does
But
the
he's
voice
actually
of Madagascar. That he
Does
the
he?
voice
Oh.
of like the paranoid giraffe. Like, oh, I'm so scared of everything. I'm David Schwimmer.
I think he's more of a director
looks like a
now,
giraffe.
though, isn't he?
Everyone
directs.
Everyone who stops acting directs. What do they direct though? Do you know what
I
I mean?
don't know.
Like, this is bullshit. Like,
I don't know. Well, this was the first movie that the Coreys did together. They met while making this movie. They have done 7 movies together. I never watched the two Coreys TV show, like the reality show.
I saw some of it.
I'll eventually get to it, but when I grew up, when I was a kid in the 80s, I was obsessed with Corey Feldman. Like, in love with him. But I remember, like, in high school, like, my friend Dana she was in love with Post-Haim. Oh. And, like, I was always a Feldman girl, personally. I never saw, like, what people saw in Corey Haim, like because
his mouth is open.
His mouth is always open, and it made him look very daft, and I just like was very unattracted to that. Whereas like Corey Feldman, I like the sharp features. Yeah. Like Crispin Glover, like could cut glass with his fucking face.
Yeah.
And but we're gonna get a little sad right now. Let's talk about Corey Haim.
All right, let me pull out my huge long
I know.
list.
It's a very, very sad story. So Corey Haim died in 2010. They ruled it as pneumonia. He was only 38 years old. So I'm gonna like just bring up some of his like most notable movies. Silver Bullet with
fantastic, love it,
love that movie. License to Drive, not a great movie.
No.
I watched it like maybe a year ago, and I was doing something else, and I just like wasn't into it. Like Heather Graham is just like drunk and passed out during like most of the movie. I know, it's not great. It's like, and it's more Corey Haim as opposed to Corey Feldman, and because I was like more of a fan of Corey Feldman, like I was just like not really that into it. He's not in it a lot. But Watchers is another one that
I haven't seen. I don't know that I've seen
never seen, but it's like on my radar, and like it's got a red cover and it has like his face, and he adopts a dog, and then he finds out that the dog was actually like an escapee from like a science like lab.
You know what? I think I might have seen it. It just sounds so familiar.
I've never seen it, and I know that there's a sequel, but it's one of those movies that I've just always wanted to watch. Another one that I used to watch when I was a kid was Dream a Little Dream. Did you guys ever watch that movie? And like that's the one that Corey Feldman does that weird like Michael Jackson like sequence in like the gym of the high school
where it all started.
Oh my god, it's very 80s, and he's actually both of Corey's are in the music video for the movie. It's called Rock On by a man called Michael Damian.
That's cool.
And there was also a sequel to Dream a Little Dream, but I never watched it.
I think it was later on, and it was one of like Corey Haim's like making like direct to DVD kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, he's been before he became the like teen heartthrob. He was in like a few movies that actually got like some attention. Like, have any of you guys seen the movie Lucas?
No, but I that was like the first like big movie.
That like Charlie Sheen was in it and Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
That was like his, I guess, breakout role.
Yeah.
And then also he was in his first feature film was called Firstborn with Sarah Jessica Parker and Robert Downey Jr. and Peter Weller.
Yeah, I know. And actually,
what a sexy lineup that is.
Yeah.
A very interesting thing about when he was filming that movie. Firstborn, Peter Weller, he went up, like Corey Haim went up to Peter Weller, RoboCop, and like he went up to him to compliment him after a scene, and Peter Weller threw him up against the wall
like
and yelled at him and told him to never approach him after a take, and it took 3 assistants to separate them. And yeah, so then he like later apologized and just said that he was just like staying in character, but Corey Haim was like a kid and he was like terrified.
Yeah,
like what the fuck?
Well, the movie
full-blown RoboCop on him.
The movie apparently is about an abusive
so he was
boyfriend.
Just staying in the abusive.
Yeah, Peter Weller was like the abusive husband.
I don't care. This is a child.
It's a child.
I don't
That's
care.
true. Yeah,
I don't care.
I know. And then another one that I always remember Corey Haim in was just one of the girls when he actually dresses up like a girl.
That one.
I remember that.
Movie, I feel was made because of Ladybugs. Remember Ladybugs with Jonathan Brandis?
Yes.
With Jonathan Brandis and Rodney Dangerfield, and he dresses like a girl to join the girls' soccer team.
So, and he's the best player.
I was obsessed with
Because
Jonathan Brandis when I was a kid, so I've seen that. And I think Vanessa Shaw is the girl in that movie, the girl from Hocus Pocus. He's also in Wishmaster 2, but he's like uncredited.
Interesting. I don't know.
The second one is not.
I can't say
it's
that
not
I've ever seen
great.
it.
Yeah,
but he's born in Toronto. He's Canadian.
He was buried like in Vaughan. It's like right by Canada's Wonderland. Like we were talking the other day about like going to visit his grave. But so initially his dad was his manager, and then his dad turned down a role in the Mosquito Coast on his behalf, and then the role ended up going to River Phoenix, and it would have been like a huge fucking like role for Corey. And so after that, he fired his dad, and because a producer like approached Corey Haim and was like, dude, you're really talented and you should have been in that movie. And he advised him that he should get an agent in LA. So he did, and he actually read for the River Phoenix's like role in Stand By Me, but obviously he didn't get the part. And but he got the part the same day that he was offered the part in Lucas, that other movie, and then he went for Lucas instead. But yeah, so like I said before, him and Corey Feldman, they did 7 movies together, and The Lost Boys was the first they met. And like during the filming of this movie, and they both auditioned for the role of Mouth in the Goonies,
which is kind of crazy.
And then obviously like Feldman got it. And actually before they started shooting The Lost Boys, Corey Haim was like, fuck that guy, he got that part, and like I didn't.
So
but then when they started hanging out, they realized how much they had in common, and they became like really, really good friends.
Yeah, they were, I guess because they were on this film set, they were like the younger of all of the people, so they actually like, apparently while everybody else was like, you know, partying after their like the night or whatever, they would just like go back to their hotel room and watch movies and go to the arcade, and like that's
kind
how
of
they
ironic,
yeah,
right?
that's how they bonded, right? Like pretty much exactly their
they
character.
bonded by not partying,
Yeah.
and then they both turned out to be the biggest
Oh,
fucking
I know.
partiers
Yeah.
on the planet.
It's so sad.
They were the highest paid teen stars of the 80s.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
So he initially, I know River Phoenix like introduced him to weed when he was like really, really young, but he was addicted to coke, and then it led to a crack addiction, and he was only 16
Yeah.
at that point. And then he decided to quit cold turkey for a month. And then he appeared at a teen anti-drug benefit campaign, and over like 1,000 girls like rushed the stage, and it caused him to be like escorted away by fire marshals, which resulted in him being like too afraid to be on stage like ever again. And then after that, he made a documentary that was like in the life of Corey, and people speculated that he was high during the videos because it was heavily scripted. And then he created his own hotline after that was like a pre-recorded drug advice line for teens.
Pre-recorded.
And then
That's good.
and then he later admit that he was actually high while he was giving
He
advice.
admitted it on Arsenio Hall, apparently.
Yeah, he was like high when he was actually giving like teens anti-drug advice.
Yeah,
I
one
just
thing.
want to like quickly say, like, this isn't a fact. I just want to say, like, I know Yasmina mentioned like River introduced him to weed first. Weed does not lead to coke all the time. For all those people who don't smoke weed out there and who are like,
people say
oh,
weed is
weed's
a gateway drug.
I
It's
just
not.
want to just say, for all us weed eaters, what do you call us?
Weed
Stoners?
eaters, I like
Weed
that.
eaters. I just want to say, just because you do weed doesn't mean you do coke. Doesn't mean you do crack. Just because you do coke doesn't mean you do crack. And just because you do crack doesn't mean you do heroin. Carry on.
That's funny.
The one thing that I actually noticed that made me kind of scratch my head a little bit about that hotline that he created was it was 1-800-COREY, but there's not enough numbers in Corey to actually make it a full number.
So it was like
Corey 666 or something? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I know.
I just thought that was weird.
I thought that was interesting too.
Isn't that the number Lisa Simpson? Remember when Lisa Simpson is like addicted to that call, and it's like a boy, like a pre-recorded
Oh,
voice
yeah.
voice,
Yeah.
that episode.
Or I like the one where she where they play like the dream phone game, and he's like, you got the dud. Hey, it looks like you, Poindexter. But yeah, so at this point he was like obviously doing a lot of drugs, and Brooke McCarter, who plays Paul in The Lost Boys, started managing him in an effort to get him sober, but his drug problem continued like into the 90s, which caused his performances to suffer, leading to a decline in his like audience and fans. And he at that point started to make a lot of like direct-to-video movies.
As well as an album. He made an album in 1994.
Yeah.
He
So-
signed a deal with a German record label.
Yeah, he went to Germany in 94 and he signed a record deal, and they recorded the album, but the deal didn't go through and it was never
Sounds
released.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of music it was?
No, probably
It
pop.
says, no, I don't know. Just, the song is called You Give Me Everything, and it actually was released as a 4-track single. So we could probably find it on YouTube if you're interested.
Okay.
And then he filed for bankruptcy in 97.
No.
He owed $100,000 to the IRS and had another $100,000 in debt.
No.
In the early 2000s, he attempted to get back into film. He was in rehab, and then he was on prescription meds, but then he later became addicted to the prescription drugs, and then eventually took up to like 85 pills a day.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Dude, that's nothing. It gets worse. So in 2001, his mom found him unconscious at his LA house, and he couldn't even afford the medical bills, and he sold his hair and his tooth on eBay to try to pay for the medical bills. But then the tooth ended up going for $150, but then the listing was pulled because of eBay's policies on selling body parts. So after that, he moved into an apartment. Yeah, this is actually like a really sad story.
It is.
After that, he moved into an apartment with his mom in Santa Monica. And then Corey Feldman, who was clean at that time, he tried to help him by moving him into his house. And then they spent some time at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch.
Yeah.
He later after that, just didn't do anything and just stayed in his apartment and just ate food and watched TV and gained a bunch of weight. And he actually later admitted that he didn't leave his apartment for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So he just stayed home depressed, like not
So
doing
no wonder
anything.
he had pneumonia. Like the man didn't move.
Yeah, and a lot of drug addicts end up getting pneumonia because it enlarges your heart, and it also like produces a lot of water to fill up in your lungs.
Right.
So in 2004, his mom convinced him to move back to Toronto, and he got sober, and then he started the reality show, the two Coreys.
Yeah, I remember
but then
that.
he
Okay.
relapsed again during the second season, and then became once again addicted to prescription meds. The second season, apparently, I've never seen the show, but the second season was a lot darker because he started to confess secrets, and it was like unscripted. Like they did not, like he threw them out there, and like nobody knew that he was actually gonna like say anything. But he confessed secrets about his childhood, about being like sexually abused, and like both Coreys were definitely like sexually abused
for
when they
sure.
were younger in the 80s. Like they even stated, like I think Corey, I can't remember which Corey said it, but they said that like growing up in LA in the 80s was the worst time to be in LA
But
in the 80s.
we've talked about that before, right? How a bunch of directors would use their power to influence
Yeah.
little boys
man.
and girls.
They
to
tried.
do-
They're honestly like that.
I'll
Like
make you a
Corey
star.
Feldman's book, Choreography, like goes into detail about it, and it's fucked.
That's a brilliant title.
Yeah.
Choreography.
I know.
Oh my god!
Funny. Yeah, no, but it's fucked.
Yeah.
Like they go into detail about how they were like raped. It's bad. It's
there's-
really bad.
Yeah, there's just a ton of that.
Yeah, so the second season of the show got really dark because he started like confessing like about like being sexually abused and all the madness that like occurred in the 80s as a child star in Hollywood. In 2008, he actually wanted to come back to acting again and wanted to be a part of the Lost Boys, the Tribe. But he cried when he was told that there was no role for him. But then he was offered a cameo. But then he showed up like hi, and then couldn't remember his lines.
Yeah.
So him and Corey Feldman's friendship like parted after Feldman said that he didn't want to talk to him until he got clean, because he didn't want him around his kid. And
I'm sorry. Whose kid?
Corey Feldman's kid.
Has a child?
Yeah, you didn't know
He's
that.
got a
Yeah.
couple kids, I
Yeah,
think,
he's got
yeah.
a couple kids. Yeah, but like he didn't want him to be around his wife or kid, right? Because he
enough.
was like a bad influence.
Totally,
And then
yeah.
so their friendship kind of deteriorated, and A&E canceled the show in the middle of season 2.
Yeah, because it got too messed up. He was just like,
Yeah.
it was out of control. And like, yeah, apparently by like July of 2008, he actually had become like destitute and homeless.
He was homeless.
In
He was
LA.
actually homeless in LA. And then Gerard McMahon, who wrote Cry Little Sister, took him in. And they had an idea for a reality show called Lost Boy Found. They filmed a pilot, but it wasn't picked up, which is very unfortunate because I
that
feel like that
sucks.
could have fucking saved his life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then like he was attached to play some roles in movies in 2010, and he was even slated to direct a couple, and him and Corey Feldman like reconciled, and they were going to film a sequel to License to Drive called License to Fly.
Ooh.
Yeah, but then at that point he moved into an apartment with his mom while she had breast cancer, and then she phoned 911 after he had collapsed. Which is crazy that the call leaked on the internet, by the way.
No,
I don't ever want to listen to that. That's way too sad.
Fuck is wrong
I know.
with
And he
people?
was pronounced dead at the hospital of accidental overdose. Before he died, like the month before he died, he illegally used fake names to get prescription drugs from different pharmacies and acquired over 550 pills in like 3 days.
Like he took them all.
Yeah, and they included like Valium, Vicodin, Soma, Xanax.
I don't want to like say anything. I mean, I've had a couple bubblies, but like that would not happen in Canada. I cannot imagine a scenario where someone would give me drugs without photo ID proving that I was not the fucking like they don't just. I mean, I've tried to get antibiotics, and they're like, ooh, like, I need some proof of, like... That's just crazy that he walked in there with a fake ID and got 500 fucking pills.
Yeah, like, over, like,
That's
many
so
pharmacies. Like, he
fucked
acquired,
up.
like, over 550 pills, like, and he took them all, like, at
You
least a
gotta
month
figure,
before
you gotta
he died.
figure, though, I mean, what part of that, you're homeless. You have no career, you have no friends. What part of that is almost suicidal? Do you know what I mean? Like, not like he committed suicide, but when you stop caring about your life so much that you're just pumping those pills into your body, I mean, it's a fine line, right? Like, you just don't care anymore.
I feel bad.
I mean, it's
because
accidental, but at the same time.
like, he had such
He probably just gave
promise,
up.
and,
Yeah.
like, he was...
So sad.
He was talented. He had, like, you know, like, such... admiration for his work because he was a good actor, like in the 80s. And then like what happened was like he had pulmonary edema, which happens to like drug abusers. Like your lungs just like fill with water. So it's really sad. He never got married. He never had any kids. He was engaged 4 times. He dated 4 times. He was engaged. Actually, one of his engagements, he proposed to the girl 2 days after he met her. She was a model.
God.
Yeah. And then he also dated Alyssa Milano in the 80s, and he also dated Victoria Beckham.
I saw
Did
that.
you
That was
know
really
that?
weird. Yeah,
That's
no.
crazy.
In like the mid 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But he has stated that The Lost Boys was one of the greatest times of his life was like during the filming of this movie.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really sad.
It's actually really sad.
Like-
Like I usually don't like sympathize with a lot of like drug abusers, like,
Likewise.
but with him, it sucked because he was so young. And was such a big star, and like he was always so happy, you know, like before he got addicted to like crack. And he like in interviews like with his mom, like his mom would always say that like he was so surprised that all those girls were there to see him, and she's like, yeah, you're a big star now, you know what I mean? It's just like, and then just the prescription drugs just destroyed him. Like they just like fucked with his brain and his thought pattern and everything, and just like completely destroyed
Yeah,
him.
he just like basically, yeah, like you said, Megan, it was just like suicide. It was just
Right?
really,
It's
really
like, it's
slow.
not actually like I'm going to kill myself,
No.
but it's like I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
really.
I feel like
really
right
depressing.
before he died though that he almost like wanted to like try to save himself, because like of that show that they had an idea for,
Right,
like the Lost
right.
Boy Found show, and was like, this is what's gonna get me finally sober, and then it wasn't picked up. Like I fucking wish that show was picked up because maybe it could have saved him.
It's fucked.
But yeah, it's a pretty sad story. It's too bad.
This is like a super emotional moment right now.
I know, like David just got
Man, there's a lot going, some heavy
and
shit.
also like the part where where he says "Death by Stereo," the band Death by Stereo
Yeah.
got their band name, like got the name from this movie.
Yeah.
Stereo.
I just want to, on a side note, about Corey Haim. Remember how I was talking earlier about my weird superpower? So apparently the first show that he ever acted on was a Canadian TV series called The Edison Twins. Do you guys remember that? No 2 days are quite the same. No. Life is just a learning game. And if you lose your head, you'll always win. Just like the Edison Twins. Fuck yeah.
I definitely don't remember that show.
It was like an 80s show about like two, like I guess brother and sister that were like geniuses. Anyways.
Oh, interesting.
I'm weird and I remember that shit.
That's funny. Well, I love Corey Feldman.
Oh my god,
moving on. Seriously, okay, like I was when his tour was going on this year, I was so upset that it wasn't coming to Toronto because he can't cross the border, and it didn't even come to Detroit because we're in London, and London is right in the middle of Detroit and Toronto, and I was like, come on, like at least come to Detroit so I can go see you. But yeah, so Corey Feldman.
Why is he a criminal?
I think he just has a record. Yeah, he must have just like a record or something. But yeah, so Corey Feldman, obsessed with him when I was a kid. I seriously was so in love with him. He obviously is Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th Part 4,
that's so cool.
The beginning of Part 5. And fun fact, Tommy Jarvis was actually supposed to be the new killer because at the end of Part 4, when he goes all psycho and like they were actually supposed to kill off Jason, and then the next movie was supposed to be like the new like way that Friday the 13th was supposed to go, and Tommy Jarvis was actually supposed to be the killer, but then he was cast in the Goonies and then was like way too busy with the Goonies, and that's why he was just at the very, very beginning of Part 5. So he's also the little boy in Gremlins. I always forget that Corey Feldman is in Gremlins.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's like the friend.
Remember? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he's obviously the Goonies, which is a great film. He's also in Stand By Me with Kiefer Sutherland. The Burbs, I love.
That movie is fun.
That's a good one.
I love The Burbs. I love the part where he's like, pizza dude. Also, another thing I did not know about Corey Feldman, which blew my mind, he does the voice of Donatello in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I had no idea.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that, but I can see it. I can totally, I can picture it.
I'm a
so
bigger,
like radical.
I know. Well, see, like I'm a bigger fan of Part 2 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Secret of the Ooze. Yeah. So that's probably why I didn't know that. But he is also in a movie that's like been on my radar for like a while now that I need to watch, and it looks so bad, and it's called Rock and Roll High School Forever.
Oh my god, it looks so
It looks so bad, and I need to watch it. He's in Tales from the Crypt episode. He gets murdered by a treadmill. He's also in Bordello of Blood, and even in Bordello of Blood, like holy fuck, I was like so in love with him. I thought he was so hot.
Come on.
Yeah, I have problems. I know. Don't judge me.
If a man was a stereotypical witch, it would be him. He's got this like upturned chin and this like downturned nose. Like his whole face comes
lips.
in.
I know. He has like the tiniest lips too.
Like he looks like he's like give a good gummy.
I was like, I don't know. I had really weird crushes when I was a kid, like Crispin Glover and James Spader. Like, what the fuck was wrong with me? But he's also in Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, and I actually
what is that?
Sat through it. I watched that motherfucking movie, and it's so bad. Like they made him. Like try to make him like look old, like because he's like the old like crazy wacky scientist that like invents the dolls and stuff and gives them life, and they put like gray like hairspray like in his hair to like make him look older. But like he wears the same outfit during the whole movie, and his daughter is like the girl who plays his daughter, like they look the same age. Oh my god, it was so bad. And it has the girl who played the lady from like the Weird Science TV show.
Okay.
Something Angel, because like I remember like we mentioned her before, and you're like, oh, is she one of Corey's angels? But she's not. But yeah, so his first acting gig.
Those broads.
I know his first acting gig was when he was 3 years old. Like he's been acting since he was 3.
That's wild.
He was
that explains
like commercials and stuff.
He was in a McDonald's Christmas commercial, and I watched it, and he's so adorable. He's appeared in over 100 commercials and 50 TV series.
That's cool.
Yeah, he also had a battle with drugs, but he eventually got clean. He was in a Newfound Glory video, Moby video, 30 Seconds to Mars, and Katy Perry. He released his first album in 92. He has 5 albums, and he was also in the British Dancing on Ice show. And I sent it to you guys, in our group chat.
I didn't watch it.
He does it to Stand By Me. And he also has his biography, The Choreography, that came out in 2003. He was emancipated when he was 15. He's been married 3 times. Get this. One of his marriages was officiated by MC Hammer.
How much more 80s can you
possibly?
That's
MC Hammer is an ordained minister.
That is so bad.
I know. He's also a Democrat and a vegetarian. I actually had no idea that he was a vegetarian.
That's cool.
So he also auditioned for the role of Robin in Batman Forever. And get this, I did not know this. He was actually written into the script of E.T. as Elliot's best friend, but as rewrites kept happening, his role kept reducing. So Steven Spielberg just told him, "Okay, we're just gonna cut your character out of the movie, and I promise I'll give you a major role in one of my other movies," which turned out to be Gremlins, because Steven Spielberg was the executive producer on Gremlins, and Goonies, because he wrote Goonies.
Awesome.
And he was actually almost fired from The Lost Boys because he showed up on set high on weed and coke after not sleeping for 2 days, but his agent saved his ass, and then after that his dad became his manager.
Hey man, balance, weed and coke, perfect. So I just looked up his net worth because we just mentioned, Yasmina, that he's been on 50 shows and da-da-da. His net worth is a mere $2 million.
Yeah.
Because
Well, he's not doing that.
And I assume that he, classic to the child actors, right? Is you spend when
Dude, seriously though,
when investing isn't your main fucking focus.
Yeah. No, you know what though? There's something I think endearing almost about him in the fact that he used to be a really big child star and he was in a lot of huge movies, but he never stopped working. And it seems like even though he got over his drug problems, it's and maybe he takes on not the greatest projects, but he still produces, he still acts.
He would be endearing.
He makes fun of himself a lot.
No, but he would be endearing right up until the point that we watched that fucking daytime TV.
Oh my god. That Angelic to the Core album.
Saying that he laughs at himself. He was so fucking serious about himself.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I can't. I lost all it. My boner went away. Curled up inside me, never to be found again. I can't.
Your boner curled up into your vagina.
Yeah, for all of you fucking listeners, tell me you've seen it. Must have mentioned
that.
it.
Okay,
Come on,
the day. Okay, the day that performance was on the Today Show or whatever, that was on
that was pretty
TV.
fucking funny.
I probably watched it 10 times that day. I was I can't believe this is real. And then people obviously lost their minds on the internet and trolls.
And then he made that video after.
Yeah, and then he made a video after that was I don't know what,
so
everybody is talking about, it's I'm just trying to be humble and be peaceful and everybody's making fun of me and blah, 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 blah. But it's because the music and
he's he's outdated. He thinks he's Michael Jackson.
And but the band members, they can't even play their instruments.
And
I'm sorry.
Back and forth.
Holy shit, I can't even watch the guitar player and the bass player play. I can't. I'm just what the fuck?
And he's doing weird
But I love it at the same time though. I was obsessed with it. I actually, that song, Ascension Millennium, I actually like that song because I played it so many times because I was so obsessed with this new thing that he was doing with the Corey and the Angels, and I've watched live videos and he has costume changes. He introduces every girl in the band more than twice. He'll be this is my wife Courtney, and then 2 seconds later, sorry, not 2 seconds later, 2 songs later, she'll leave the stage and come back and be I have a special guest to sing this next song, and it's my wife Courtney. And then he has a screen behind him that shows videos, and the videos show footage from 9/11 and
Oh my
shit.
God.
Like, it's weird.
And like we're sure he's clean.
Yes, yeah, he like,
So he's
he's
just
all like, he
permanently-
loves like God and
He's
shit
just
now.
crazy.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, he's all like, because the whole album is about like balance of like good and evil.
Okay, interesting.
And everything,
Okay.
and like,
Yeah.
but either way, I can't even like describe how I feel about it, because like it's like I know it's ridiculous, I know it's awful, but because it's Corey Feldman, it's awesome at the same time. Like, and I want to fucking see it in concert so badly, but he can't come to Toronto, and I'm like just waiting for him to come.
We
to
might have to
Detroit.
travel.
We might have to travel, but so many people like keep going to his shows, and they're just like seeing Corey Feldman tonight, and I'm just like, God damn, fuck you! I want to see him so badly. And like I actually like when the tour was announced, it was supposed to come to Toronto, and I was like, I don't even fucking care how much the meet and greet is. I am paying hundreds of dollars to meet him. I need to meet him. Like, because I would be so starstruck if I ever met him. Because I'd be like, because it's like the part of me of my childhood that was like obsessed with him, but then the new part of my life that's like also obsessed with him for like different reasons. But yeah, that video though for Ascension Millennium.
Oh, it's
my
crazy.
God, it's so bad.
Yeah, no,
It's
he's
so
a
bad.
parody
Remember the
of
part
himself.
where he's
It's
like
absurd.
playing with the band in a room, and then the walls like fall,
Yeah.
and then there's like a stadium crowd or something like that. And then like isn't like Sean Astin is in the video too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like making food in his kitchen or some shit. Like,
It's fucking weird.
oh God, I still love him though. I love Corey Feldman so much. But yeah, so he didn't attend Corey Haim's funeral out of respect for the family, because the family wanted it to be low key. So he was like, if I show up, then like the media will be there, blah blah
That's
blah. So I understand
That's
that.
admirable,
but so
but
he
kinda
wrote.
sad.
I remember the day though that Corey Haim died, and he wrote an open letter. And he was also on Larry King Live.
Oh, no kidding.
I believe, yes. So, what are the other actors that we were talking about? So, Jameson Newlander, who plays Alan Frog. The only other thing that I've really seen him in is The Blob.
I'm pretty sure that's like he's only had like 5 titles that I saw.
Yeah,
on
he's not
IMDb.
really like, he doesn't really have that many titles.
And
like,
3 of them were from The Lost Boys.
but
so.
he's also in Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
And if you
Ooh,
have
that's a
not
good one.
seen that movie,
That's a fantastic
you should
movie.
fucking
Yeah.
watch that movie.
That's a good movie.
That movie was so good. And like, yes, very gory. That one part, I'm not going to spoil it, but goddamn, it's pretty fucking awesome. But he also directed and starred and like wrote a short called Rooster, but I've never seen it. And he also has his own podcast, and it's called The Jameson Newlander and Some Other Guy Show. And the co-host is always unidentified. It's like a mystery who the co-host
weird.
is.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
kinda
like
cool.
who knows who he is.
He also is apparently working or is acting in a movie that's about the 2 Coreys
Really?
called A Tale of Two Coreys.
What?
And it's a film that's portraying the lives of the Coreys in the 80s and depicting their childhood and their troubled adulthood.
That's
And-
crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming out, I think, this year. It seems like it's a lower budget production, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Corey Feldman has, like, given his story, and it's based on probably a lot of his, like, book and stuff like that. But, yeah, so there's other actors playing them, obviously, but it's telling
weird.
the story.
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, he only has a small part in it. I guess he's playing, I think, like a cop or something in it.
Weird.
But yeah, I'd be curious to see it because I'm sure that those stories and would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Their life was pretty fucked, man.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about Edward Herrmann, who plays Max in The Lost Boys. He passed away in 2014. He's in The Great Gatsby, which is insane. And also one of my favorite, like, teen 90s movies, My Boyfriend's Back.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I saw it in theaters. I love that movie. He was also in Nixon. He's in Oz, the TV show, which I've never seen, but I've heard really good things about it.
Lots of naked people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots
I feel
of
like jail
penises.
stuff.
Peens and butts.
Yeah.
He's also in, okay, so this is actually kind of interesting. He's in the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And I have seen the Gilmore Girls, I will admit it. Enjoy that TV show. Duh. And it's actually kind of funny because in The Lost Boys, they make mention to like, oh, it's the return of like Eddie Munster when they're talking about Laddie. And a lot of people used to always say that Max looks like Herrmann Munster.
Yeah,
And it's
interesting.
actually kind of funny because in Gilmore Girls, they make that mention and they say that he looks like Herrmann Munster. And get this, Fred Gwynne, who is the guy who played Herrmann Munster in The Munsters, was considered for the role of Max.
Interesting.
They look
What?
exactly the same.
That's weird.
And it's funny because it was mentioned in the Gilmore Girls and the Lost Boys.
I liked his role in the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Rich debonair man.
Yeah, he's awesome, yeah. And has also played FDR 3 times.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting.
He also, I don't know, this is just me being a nerd, but he narrates for Nova.
Ooh.
Or he did narrate for Nova for a really long time. And also for the History Channel.
Nice.
And he was a spokesperson for Dodge in the 90s. Because he's got one of those voices, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah. And he also won a Tony Award for Best Actor.
Oh, nice.
In the 70s.
He's adorable. He's an adorable old man, for
Yeah.
sure.
Actually, another thing that I thought was kind of interesting. So apparently him and Dianne Wiest collaborated as directors on the Williamstown Theater Festival in 1985. So they actually had worked together before they were in this
cool.
movie on a theater festival.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of cool.
Well, a few tidbit things about trivia on The Lost Boys. The tear in David's eye, like when he burns his hand out of the cave, was actually real because the contact lens was like burning and irritating his
Jesus.
eye, which is exactly like almost the same thing that happened in the Fright Night like episode when we like talked about how their contact lenses were like burning their
Sizzling their eyes.
And
Yeah.
it just like added to the effect. It was
I
so
know.
glorious.
This movie invented the term vamp out, which is used
No.
quite often in the Buffy TV show.
Okay, because you know what? I read that too, and I was like, what term vamp out? Like, I never fucking heard that. No one says it on the streets. What does it mean?
On the streets, maybe not, but like in like
in vampire
pop
movies?
culture, yeah. I mean, like they say because I'm a huge
what does it
Buffy
mean?
fan. Like just like vamp out when they become a vampire.
Oh,
like when they take
you're
like their
vamping out,
vampire.
man.
Yeah, like and she says it. Buffy says it all the time,
Okay.
like in the TV show.
So I read that too, and I was like, I've never heard that, but I'm not a Buffy.
I love Buffy, and
I'm
like
not
they
a
do
Buffy
say it a
buff.
lot in that show. I know I am. Yeah, I love that show. But the blood had glitter in it to give it a shimmering look, and it was actually a lot slimier than like regular fake blood. But like I love that you can like see the glitter in that scene when
Yeah.
they actually like come out of the cave, and there's like just like sparkly
Blood everywhere. I mean, at least they're not sparkly
I was
vampires.
just like Twilight.
though.
Yeah,
just
that's funny. Another very interesting thing that I never knew about this movie, Kelly Jo Minter, who is an actress in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. She's the diver girl that like dies in the school pool, and she's also in People Under the Stairs and Popcorn.
Fuck's sakes, I love those movies.
She is, you can actually only see her in the background of Max's store. She works at Max's store
Cool.
with Lucy, but she actually had like a full scene, but it ended up like being deleted, and I watched the deleted scene on YouTube today. But I thought it was kind of interesting because her name is like a very prominent name, like at the beginning credits.
And she does
Weird,
fuck
yeah.
all.
And they cut her basically-
They cut her out.
But they
Yeah.
just left her name.
Yeah.
That seems weird.
I know. Also, the comic book that they have in the movie, Vampires Everywhere, was created solely for this movie, and the cast signed it, and the owner of the comic book shop has the copy, and he will let anyone come into the store and hold it and take pictures with it free of charge.
That's cool. Also, there's a really shitty band that called themselves Vampires Everywhere.
Oh, I think I remember that band.
Yeah.
Aren't they like just like a Hot Topic band or
Yeah.
some shit?
Yeah.
I remember that. One day I'll watch Lost Boys: The Thirst.
Oh.
I'll give it a shot. I mean, I watched fucking Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys.
Brutal.
Holy shit, that was brutal.
Fucking
That was
terrible.
so bad. And like, it's funny because Corey Feldman, like, because he's supposed to play like an older guy, like, has like, he adds like more raspiness like to his voice.
Oh, so it's
and
just extra
like,
bad.
so bad.
That's terrible.
He's
I
certainly
just,
not
like-
the most talented man on the planet.
I just, yeah, when it comes
I mean,
to like
Corey
the
Haim was a better. I'm trying to say was a better Corey, like actor, like talent wise, you know.
yeah, I just like I can't do the Puppet Masters. I just can't.
Yeah,
do
no, they're all bad.
it. I can't. I can't do it.
Not even one of them?
Not even the first one.
Well, we were talking about like entertaining the idea of like doing dolls for an episode soon, and I told Morgan that I was like, I will fucking sit through every Puppet Master movie for research, like for the dolls episode.
And you know what? I think for that very reason we should do it, because I would love to see what Yasmina's face looks like after she's watched like 14 fucking Puppet Master movies.
Yeah.
It's gonna be horrible.
It'll be the worst few weeks of your life.
I know. And
really
you'll
will
be
be.
getting texts from me that
I
are just like
know.
the emojis
It's
of
gonna
like,
be-
the scary face. It's like, oh god, I just watched part 5. Like,
Worst of
shoot
the
me.
worst.
All right, well, I think we're about ready to wrap it up. The thing about like this episode, I mean, we've seen this movie like so many times, and like many people, obviously horror fans, like I've seen this movie so many times that you could just have it in the background and you know exactly what is going on. Like you don't have to pay attention to it. And like when we were doing our research for this movie, seriously, like we were just like so like in awe with like how much trivia there was on the actual movie, on the actors, because it's like all A-list actors, and like there's a ton of info that we were just like, I bet we're not even going to be like paying attention like
and
while
the
this
movie's
movie
been done
was
for
like
half an hour,
like we actually the movie finished like half an hour ago because there's so much information.
Yeah,
like, we had like I had
pages
like
of
5
stuff.
pages of
Yeah.
research, like Morgan had like 7, so we hope everybody enjoyed it, gave some people some insight on some interesting facts about the actors, and we got a little sad about Corey Haim, but it was expected. But we hope everybody enjoyed the episode. And
Michael.
Oh yeah, how many times does he say Michael in the movie?
Apparently Michael is said 118 times in this movie.
I love
Come
that.
on.
That actually one of my favorite
fact.
things
Good
about this
fact.
movie is how people say his name, Michael. Like, and I know I have a friend named Michael, and I just have to say his name like that. I'm just like, Michael.
It's amazing.
I'm pretty sure we've probably said that in previous episodes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Michael. Awesome. Well, we're gonna have a dance party to Lost in the Shadows,
Woo!
and we'll have the song playing at the end of the episode, so you guys can have a dance party as well.
Damn right.
And yes, thank you very much for joining us on tonight's episode, and we are signing off.
Bye bye.
And have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.